Today is Monday, 31st of January 2005, the Burmese era 1366, the waning, waxing day of Gyaldo, 7th in Burmese era. And this is the successful ending of the 60-day special retreat, 6th special retreat at the Pandirama 10-mile forest center. It is a successful ending of that retreat, last day of that retreat. And it is rejoicing to know that we have come to a successful ending without any significant difficulty as regards the practice conducting the retreat. And in conducting the retreat, as much as there are teachers who can teach, there must be also the yogis, the followers or retreatants who can practice following the instruction of the teachers. Then only it will be beneficial. So also, it is not just sufficient to have teachers and those who are taught. There must be also people who will serve the retreat from all aspects, beginning with cooking, preparing the food, and providing other facilities to facilitate the yogis to undertake the practice without difficulty, in the spirit of the family and family spirit. And it is quite rejoicing to know that people are able to do in this spirit. And just as we have done this year, we hope that it will continue to do so in the following years. In the world over, there are schools and universities all around the world, and when the students graduate from the schools and universities, usually the professor or the rector would give some message to the graduating students in this way, that one's own education, one's learning is not just for oneself, not just for one's own family, nor one's relatives, nor one's own near friends. It is for the whole country, whole nation, and if possible for the whole world. And the rector would advise his graduating students to make full use of this learning for the sake of all. So in the old days, Buddha himself gave message to the monks, those who have practiced to attain arahantship or arahanthood. But in those days they practiced until the end. Then the Buddha would advise them or admonish them to go along, just one monk, one road. One monk should go along one way to spread the Buddha's sadhana, Buddhist culture, Buddha's training. And that was the custom of those days. Nowadays also, you all are said to be graduating from this training center. Although you are not arahants as those days, but in your own right, you have learned the practice of Satipatthana, and in order that you can maintain this practice, when you go back home, you not only maintain your practice of Satipatthana, but also urge your family members, near relatives and friends to undertake the practice, sharing the Dhamma. Although you are not Arahants like the Arahants of those days, in your own right, you can share the Dhamma, you can advise those others, as Yogi has just given the speech, to solve these social problems and to share the Dhamma, that is the practice of Satipatthana, the method of Satipatthana, so that it will spread throughout the region. And although you are not meditation teachers, you can share the Dhamma, you can share what you have learned here, so that the Satipatthana will spread from one place to another and throughout the world, to extinguish the fires of defilements, namely greed, hatred and delusion, and try to reduce the intensity of these fires and, if possible, extinguish them. So then, if you are able to do that, this will conduce to a world peace. There are three messages Sarah wished to give. So says that this is not his own messages, they are the Buddha's messages, to urging and inspiring the devotees. And the Buddha's message is given briefly in the Dhammapada, verse 327. 8 words in the form of 8 words in each sentence, 4 sentences, that makes 32 words in brief. And it runs like this. Abhamada rata hota sachitam anurekata dukkha udarekata nam panke sato va kunjaro. That is the Pali version of the verse, which is translated in English, each sentence in this way. The first sentence, Abhamada rata hota, has this meaning: take delight in Abhamada, that is diligence or mindfulness, instead of taking delight in sensuousness. That is the first message. Then the second one, Sachitam Anurekata, guard your mind well. That is the second message. And as for the third one should save oneself. One should become a one who is saved by saving oneself from the mud, kilesa mud. Kilesa is compared to mud. And try to struggle out or save yourself from the kilesa mud, like an elephant which is stuck in the mud pulls itself out. So also one should pull oneself out of the mud of moral defilements. In this way, these three messages are given. And just to go over it again, in essence, one should be mindful, be diligent, and take delight in Abhamada. And one should guard oneself from taking delight in the sensuousness. One should guard one's mind well and try to struggle out of the kilesa mud by oneself. Now, to expand on this three messages of the Buddha, we can expand to some extent, but not too much in details. As regards the Abhamada Rata, in the first message, in the first sentence, Abhamada is the reverse or opposite of Pamada. Pamada means failure, negligence, forgetting, failing to observe what should be observed, and abstaining what should be abstained. These are the two things these are the two things in which one may fail Pamada. What are the things to be abstained? Things to be abstained are immoral deeds, debauchery does, wrongdoing by body, speech and mind, as we have already given in our Dhamma talks. These debauchery does are to be abstained. So, if we do not abstain from these debauchery does, we are going to afflict ourselves so that our dignity and honor will be lowered, degraded. At the same time, we will be harming others, we will be afflicting others. As a human being, we have the responsibility not to afflict others, so not to fail, not to neglect, not to forget. This is very important. If we do not abstain from what should we abstain, then we'll be affecting both, that is, ourselves and others. If we expand on this, there are much to talk about these things. So as much as what should abstain from what should be abstain, there are things what should be observed in various aspects to purify our physical bowel behaviors, become cultivated, tamed, peaceful, gentle and lovable. So we should not, if we fail in these things, that is things to be observed, if we fail to observe what should be observed, this is tantamount to negligence, failing, forgetting, pamada. If we fail, if we neglect, there will be no benefit, we will suffer loss. And even if we get benefit, the benefit will not be fully, will not be full. And such a life will be in vain. If instead of abstaining, we are forgetting to abstain from and to fail, then we are bound to live a very horrible life. Hence the Buddha's message not to fail. This pamada is the opposite of apamada. Not to fail, not to forget, not to be negligent in observing what should be observed and abstaining what should be abstained. Hence this expression apamada or apamadharati, delight in apamada, delight in diligence, which means that one should live with mindfulness, not to be removed or not to live without mindfulness. That means one should live with mindfulness, one should devote our time to mindfulness, one should take delight in mindfulness. So one should live with sati, not without sati. And not to fail or not to be negligent. And the opposite is pamada. Now pamada and apamada can be divided into three grades. Namely, the gross form, the medium form, and the refined form. Now as regards the gross form, it is, if one is forgetting by indulging in immoral deeds, debauchery does, committing wrongdoing by body, speech and mind, being forgetting, being negligent, failing, forgetting to abstain from debauchery does, then one will not be a worthy human being, one will not be a human being. Leaving the mind uncontrolled, indulging in the sense of pleasures, indulging in debauchery does, unwholesome deeds. That is the gross form of pamada, and the opposite of that is gross form of apamada. And as for the medium form, one is not forgetting, one is not feeling, but one is leaving the mind uncontrolled in respect of sensual pleasures, not practicing the restraint of enjoyment of sensual pleasures. That is, enjoying good seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, and so on. Enjoying the sensuous pleasures. Such is the medium form of pamada, and the opposite of that is the medium form of apamada. Then, if we control our mind in our own right and not indulging in sensual pleasures, it is good enough. And if we sustain that, if we practice the restraint in sensual pleasures, then it is a medium form of apamada, and not practicing the restraint is medium form of pamada. And the third grade, that is the refined form of pamada, apamada, is that if you are not practicing a satipatthana practice and to cultivate your mind, not wishing, not knowing the benefits of the practice, not cherishing the practice, not being able to undertake the practice respectfully and carefully, continuously, then it is the medium form of negligence, pamada. And the opposite of that is the refined form of pamada, and the opposite of that is the refined form of apamada, that is diligence. If you are diligent in the practice of satipatthana, walking the path of satipatthana, knowing the benefit of the practice, cherishing it, doing it respectfully, carefully, continuously, in a dedicated manner, that is the refined form of apamada. If one is taking delight in apamada as is given in the first message, namely apamada rata, not indulging in sensual pleasures, instead one is practicing the restraint, protecting oneself, not to indulge in sense objects, that is apamada, not forgetting, not failing, instead one is diligent, then one is able to control oneself in respect of these sense objects as is given in this first message, apamada rata. Then with that one can accomplish the purpose. However, the Buddha gave the second message, that is to practice mindfulness, as is given in this second message, Sachitam Anurakata. Guard your mind with vigilant mindfulness of whatever arises, so to be mindful all the time with the practice of satipatthana. Instead of guarding the mind, instead of leaving the mind uncontrolled in respect of the sense pleasures. And such is the second message, Sachitam Anurakata. So one should take time or devote our life to apamada, appreciating the practice of apamada, diligence. And in this way there will be no transgressive defilements as regards these attractive objects, desirable objects. There will be no lacks. One will not be sunk, or one will not sink in the lobha mud as regards the desirable objects. And even if one encounters undesirable object, because of the practice of satipatthana, one will not sink, or one will not be sunk in the dosa mud, the mud of anger or aversion. And because one is noting every arising object, not forgetting, not neglecting, and one is noting and knowing, one is fully aware of the objects noted, one will not sink into the moha, mud, the mud of delusion. And so too one will not be singing in other muds of envy, avarice and so on. There's no chance of oneself sinking in such muds. It is a muds. And with the practice of Satipatthana, like what you are doing now, not living the mind uncontrolled, but controlling the mind, one will not be sinking in the this coarse form of it is a mud, because one is controlling oneself, one is pulling oneself out of this it is a mud. In this way, the Buddha gives this third message, Dukkha Udara Katanam. That is, one should be pulling oneself out of the mud by oneself, pulling oneself out of the mud of defilements, mud of moral defilements. And in this way, one will be able to pull oneself out of the three grades of kilesa mud, namely the coarse form, the medium form, and the refined form, and pull oneself out of the mud to the safe land. And such is the third message. There are two kinds of mud. That is ordinary simple mud and kilesa mud. It is easy to get out of ordinary simple mud, but it is not easy to get out of the kilesa mud. It will be difficult. As regards pulling oneself out of the ordinary mud, one can do it by oneself, or one can get the help of other people to get out of the mud. But as regards getting out of the kilesa mud, one has got to do it by oneself. One must struggle to get out of the mud by oneself. So there's such, and then that's why, hence this third message, that one should pull oneself out of the mud of moral defilements. And in this regard, there's a story which will be given in brief. This verse is given with regard to, or with reference to a war elephant. Now, in those days they used elephants as a weapon or as a means of war. And King Kosala had this elephant to be used at wartime. And while this discourse was given, while the Buddha was residing at Jetavana Monastery in Savatthi, the name of this elephant was Paveka. And when it was young, it was very strong. Later it became old, and because it was feeling weak, at one time it sank in the mud and could not pull itself out of the mud. And a lot of people saw this plight of this elephant, and they commented that the elephant had got very old and it was very weak. That's why it was sunk in the mud. At that, the king heard the news and sent his elephant trainer to look after this elephant. The king gave the order, and on order of the king, the elephant trainer went there, looked at the situation, and seeing that this elephant was a war elephant used at wartime. It has a war spirit, it was war conscious, I say. So the trainer was intelligent, and he beat war drums to arouse war consciousness in this elephant, and with the consequence that the elephant became energized on hearing the war drums, beating of the war drums, and pull itself out of the mud to get on the land. Thus, it was able to save itself. So although it was old, it had this war spirit, and with this spirit, it was able to help itself. When the monks saw this situation, they reported the matter to the Buddha, and then the Buddha admonished the monks in this way, just as the elephant was able to pull itself out of the mud, out of the ordinary mud, the real mud, and save itself to be able to come to the land. So too, you all are sinking in the pieces of mud and try to struggle out of the mud as much as possible with all your strength, and so that you'll be able to save yourself from the pieces of mud and come to the safe land. With the practice of the 3 stages of energy, namely Arambha Dhatu, the initial energy, starting energy, and then the energy to overcome, liberating energy to overcome sluggishness, that is Nekama Dhatu, and the 3rd stage of energy known as Parakama Dhatu, that is the final energy in stages to reach until one reaches the goal. In this way, one should be able to practice 3 stages of energy to save oneself from the kills of mud. And for this, the Buddha gave these 3 messages to repeat it: Apamada or Tahota, Sachita Manurakata, Duga Udarakata, Ankisato, Wa Kunjaro, meaning take delight in Apamada, mindfulness. Guard your mind well, as an elephant stuck in mud pulls itself out, so to pull yourself out of the mud of moral defilements. So also too, with the yogis, after you all have completed the 6-day retreat, when you go home, to remember, you should remembering these 3 messages of the Buddha, practice Apamada as much as possible, not to be pulled away from the sense objects, and not to indulge in transgressive defilements, and be able to pull yourself out of the kilesa mud to come to the safe land, and to practice at least to realize the 1st stage of super-mundane consciousness, super-mundane path. And with this, Sharo comes to the conclusion of his message.